keep talking.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just get you off the screen a bit. Hi, everyone. Hello? Oh, I'm talking to myself. Welcome to the live, guys. I'm sorry I'm a bit late, but um, life sometimes happens. But I got here and immediately I went on. So let me check if the back end is fine, like if I can actually see myself. Um, so that we can get the show on the road. So, so that we can get the show on the road. Okay, so I'm audible. That's all that matters. Okay, guys. Let me comment here. If you do want to like come on, hold on. Let me just post this comment. That's the link that you have to use, and then let me just comment my email because people will ask for it. Anyway, I can post it later. But anyway, hi, EK. Okay, guys. 1, 2, 3, guys. You are welcome to my live. This is exciting. You know, I love to do lives with you guys. Not like the live streams. And they happen every Monday. Okay, every Monday, either 8:30 or 9 p.m. But either way, I get it done and I show up and I do my thing. Okay, so today's live stream is going to be a bit special because I have a guest, a friend of mine actually. I pride myself in that. He is going to come on and tell us what do black men own. He actually sent me an email with a story and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? We actually need a black man to come onto the platform and give us his view instead of me coming here and talking about something that I don't quite understand because at the end of the day I'm a woman. You see, it's not like I'll ever be able to understand the what a man goes through. I can understand where I need be, but like I feel like it's better coming from a man. And here he is. Hi,
Hello.
Charlie.
Hey, how you doing, Joan? How's it going?
Okay.
How's everybody out there?
Everyone, I hope everyone is fine. But you're
Yeah, I hope
welcome.
so too.
Yeah. So
Thank you for having me.
first, yeah, before we get any further, but like first tell the people who you are, like give us a small intro.
Okay, my name is Charlie Braxton. I am a poet, playwright, a cultural critic, and a political commentator. Uh, I've had work done in various publications, including the Washington Post, Los Angeles Times. I'm currently writing for Medium .com and we love blackgirls.com or loveblackgirls.com. I just got
Mm-hmm.
that gig, so forgive me if I don't remember the exact uh, URL.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you so much for letting us know. So I was just telling the live well the chat that you sent an email and you were kind of letting me know about something that was happening and you are telling me this young man was asking like what do black men control, and I felt like it was better if a black man came on here and like kind of broke it down for us. So if you don't mind, can you please go ahead and do that for us?
Okay, all right. Well, if you think about us as a collective, and I'm not talking about black people as individuals, I'm talking about black men and black people as a collective. When you think about it, there's no real industry that we control. Now, there are industries that
Mhm.
we influence. For instance, the music industry. We influence the music industry in the United
Mhm.
States. We influence the music industry globally, but we don't control it. And if you're going to be a successful group within a capitalist economy, you have to control something. I mean, perfect example are the Chinese. If you go into any Chinese restaurant in America, the odds are they're owned by Chinese people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You may have
Yeah.
some outliers. I'm not saying that there aren't, some black folk who own a Chinese restaurant, but the majority of Chinese restaurants are owned by Chinese people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you look at, say, for instance, the garbage industry. The garbage industry is controlled by white people. There are some outliers. For instance, I live in Jackson, Mississippi. In Mississippi, right now, our current garbage contractor is a black person. But waste management used to own it, and they're doing everything in their power to kick this brother off because they understand we cannot let this black man have this contract, because if you quote unquote let one brother do it, it may spread throughout the state. So they are struggling right now to hold on to that contract. But if you think about where we are as a people, not again, not individuals, there's very little that we own
Mm.
as a collective. So when I
Mm.
say to you, and if we don't own anything in a capitalist economy, we don't control something. And when I say control, I mean from raw material to finished product. If we don't control that,
Mm-hmm.
then we're at the mercy of those who do control it. Like Gil Scott Heron said, that when the producer names the tune, the consumer has got to dance. And essentially, when you're looking at what Black Americans and Black people globally, we are consumers. And we're
Mm-hmm.
providers of raw material. For instance, Africa, let's take Nigeria, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria produces oil,
Yeah.
but they don't refine oil.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is they sell the raw material to Europe or America, and then America sends it back to them as a finished product. So now
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria is consuming oil or gas from a refinery in Europe or America.
Oh.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's if
Okay,
you
say
don't,
it.
you have to control in a capitalist economy or any economy. If you don't control everything from raw material to finished product, you are being setting yourself up to be at the mercy of those who do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's where we are as a people. We need to understand as Black men. One of the things there's a book called What is Life by Kalamu Yasalam. And Kalamu Yasalam says that if, he's taking the premise that Dr. John Henry Clark said. Dr. John Henry Clark said, we don't even make our own underwear.
Mm.
We don't even make our own. Think about it. We don't, a lot of us don't even make our own clothes. When I say control that, I mean everything from growing the cotton or growing whatever fabric material to creating the sewing machines. We don't own any of that. We usually have to either farm it out, usually to
Mm.
the Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
we, and that's who creates the price line, because they're the ones who say, okay, if you want us to sell you this raw material is going to cost this much. Then you have to figure out, all right, can my price point, can my demographics afford that?
Mm. Yeah. So, well, that was really nice. I do have two questions from what I've heard from you so far. When you say, like you said, black people don't control the music industry. From
Mhm.
the outside looking in, it seems like black people control. For example, like hip hop. Black people don't control hip hop. Is that it?
No, no. Listen, that's something I know intimately because that's what I did for from 91 up until 2015, 2016 when I retired. I covered hip hop. And
Yes.
when I tell you I Master P, whom everybody loves, who was a multi-millionaire, but he had to go to Priority Records to get his records in the stores. There are
That,
four major companies that control the music industry, and they're not owned by Black people. Cash Money is another big record company that Drake and Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne was on. Yes, they own the label, but when it comes to pressing the product, when it comes to distributing the product, they don't own those companies. Universal does. So they have to go to a white company to get their music out. And if the white company decides, you might want to say something Pan-Africanist and pro-Black, we don't like that because that doesn't fit our agenda. Now, if you want to continue this relationship with us, guess what you're going to have to do?
mm-hmm.
So again, I go back to the great Gil Scott Heron. When the producer names the tune, the consumer has got to dance. In this relationship in the music industry, which is the most,
Hold on. Sti-
go ahead.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Charlie,
Uh-huh.
you're breaking up. I don't know if it's my internet.
I don't know whether it's mine. Hopefully, do I need to go back? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can, and I can also. I think they can hear you fine, but
Okay.
you were breaking up for me here. Sorry about that. Please
Okay.
continue. Sorry.
Okay. No. So if you want to understand why Black music is functioning the way it's functioning now in terms of hip hop, it's
Mm-hmm.
because the people who are in control of the white labels are calling the shots. They're the ones who are telling. I'll give you a perfect example of them calling the shots. All right. In the 1980s, we had what was called the Afrocentric movement. And that was when you had your Public Enemies, your Poor Righteous Tea. Everybody was pro-Black. Even NWA had one or two positive songs on their records because it was a movement that was coming organically from Black people, from the Black community. All right.
Mm-hmm.
After the LA riots, after the LA rebellion, I like to call it the rebellion instead of the riots.
Yeah.
A decision was made. A decision was made at the very tip top with some white companies that we're having problems with this pro-Black music because we're watching these rebellions take place all over the country. And not only is it Black folk, you got Latinos out there rebelling, and you even have white kids out there rebelling. If we have this up, if we keep this up, they might overthrow us. What we're going to do is we're going to change the narrative. So we're going to start signing gangster rap. And there's a connection between gangster rap and the prison industrial complex because the same people, Ice Cube just recently said that, same people who own the record industry own the prison industrial complex. Our prisons here are privatized. The government doesn't own a lot of our prisons. Private corporations do. Like in Mississippi, we have a prison that's owned by the state, but we have satellite prisons that are owned by private corporations, like Wackenhut and
Mm-hmm.
Blackstone. These are corporations you can look up. They, with the state of Mississippi, have a deal where you have to have a 91% occupancy rate in these prisons.
Okay.
So if you have a prison that you have to have a 91% occupancy rate, how do you get these people in jail? One, you change the laws. So little minor infractions like it used, for instance, possession of marijuana. Okay, we can get them on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if the music makes crime glamorous, we might not get that pro-black generation that we have, but in the next 10 to 15 years, we'll create a whole new generation of kids who grew up listening to gangster rap, who think engaging in criminal activity is cool. And that happened because we don't control the music industry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you have to, I think there's a term called, uh, you have to control everything from if you own, let's see, all right, perfect example. Who does your shirts?
Some guy. There's a guy that I know. He does the shirts.
Okay, does he make the shirts or does he buy the shirts?
No, he buys them from China, then he sells and labels them for us. Yeah.
Which means if the Chinese decide, okay, and you have a price point that you want to pass it on to, right? But if
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
Chinese, if the Chinese decide today we don't want to sell Uganda shirts, what do you where do you go? Is there a shirt manufacturing company in Uganda that you can go to?
Yeah.
Then you should buy the shirts from the shirt manufacturing from Uganda.
But the company is here, but it's still Chinese owned. It just happens to be in the country.
Oh, oh, okay. See, my point precisely.
Guys, is it my internet?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, just like the movie industry, another case in point. Culture is the one thing that Black people produce that the whole world loves. It is the one thing that we produce that the whole world loves, whether it be Afrobeat or Amapiano or hip hop or R&B or in the movie industry, whether it's John Singleton, Spike Lee, or Ebony Life in the studio Ebony Life in Nigeria. The Nigerians control that movie industry. That's the one thing I admire about Nollywood. But the distribution of those films internationally, they still have to go to Netflix. They still have to
yeah.
go to Amazon. We don't even own a Netflix.
Wait, what about BET?
BET is owned by Viacom. That's a white company. It started out as a black company, and he sold it for $1 billion. So now it's a white company.
What about I think oh yeah, I can't think of it. What about Tubi? Is it Tubi? Because I see lots of like black
Tubi is
movies.
owned by the same people who own Fox Network. Tubi is white owned. I mean, we go down the list. Just go down. Think of somebody else. We keep it moving.
Um yeah, that's pretty much. What about Zeus? But they do reality shows. Is it the Zeus
I,
network where the or is
I'm,
fighting?
I'm I'm not familiar with Zeus Network. Somebody on the chat may know about Zeus.
Oh, please. If yeah, if someone in the chat knows about Zeus, maybe they can let us know. No, but
Yeah,
I think it's like all
but
like social media. They
but
do
I
reality
go
shows.
Yeah, but I know a brother who is trying to create a Flix account because what he says is, um, because we would talk, and I talked to him yesterday. Come to think of it, because I also write screenplays. He was saying to me that there is no server even for Netflix. The server for Netflix in Nigeria is located in Europe.
Mm.
And really, all Netflix is a server that holds all of the data that the movies have. It's not that hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
but we just
Oh,
haven't done it. But
what?
now go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
What about so as you already saying Tyler Perry Studios? Yeah, that's black.
It's black owned, but Tyler Perry still has to go to the white movie companies to get the movies to us.
Oh, the distribution. Oh, now I get it. They
No,
don't control
no, no. When I
everything.
say control, I mean control everything from raw material to final
Mm-hmm.
product to distribution. Because
Okay.
once you have the final product, you still have to get the product to stores or to the consumer. And
Mm-hmm.
if anything in that chain is controlled by someone other than your community, you're vulnerable. Now, here's
Mm-hmm.
where Pan-Africanism can come into play, which is why there are forces that don't want, I think I've had this conversation with you before. There were forces that never dreamed of you and I conversing. There are forces never that doesn't want us conversing because there are raw materials in Africa. There's product in Africa. That your shirt, by the way, I'm gonna purchase one soon. If
Please
hopefully you
do.
got them in my size. If you got them in my size, I'm a big
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
you can shop. There's I think there's a shop when you search for my channel, there's a shop that comes up and then you can go to the shop and then decide on which one you want. There's a
Oh,
variety.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So you can
Yeah.
choose between Uganda is calling, so I must go, and then Uganda looks good on me. Two
Okay,
designs. But yeah,
okay,
please continue. Yes.
okay. But see, that is what we need to understand is control. But if we have a Pan-Africanist ideology, if we have a Pan-Africanist connection, raw material can come from Africa. Finished product can come from Africa. Distribution can come from Africa and the Caribbean, Latin America, and America. We have right now, there are brothers making things. There are businesses, but we don't control raw material and we don't have control of distribution. These are the things that we must think about because if we don't have total control, we're still vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
We're still vulnerable. And uh, in a capitalist economy, vulnerability is not a good thing. In a white supremacist society, Black people being vulnerable in any form, shape, or manner is not good. Recently, and I think you're going to be doing a piece on it, showing you the explain vulnerability to you. Nigeria
Mm-hmm.
just recently had the presidential plane seized. The presidential plane, that's like Air Force One being taken by Russia or being taken by China. That would never happen.
Yeah.
But because the Nigerians couldn't fix the plane or didn't have the parts or whatever the situation was, they sent the plane to France to get fixed. They bought the plane from maybe Boeing, Dow, or Lockheed. Why can't the Nigerians make their own planes?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we make our own cars?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a car company that was in Kenya, made in Kenya. It just shut down. I think they couldn't
Really?
sustain. Yeah,
Why?
it's cool.
Why did it shut down?
I think the money, people weren't buying the cars.
Okay, that's another problem. We've got to learn to once to support Black businesses. That when they get up and running, we have to learn to
Mm,
support them. And I mean, in America, my grandmother, it's a popular saying. We believe that the white man's ice is colder.
yeah. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So when a
Yeah.
black man makes the car, nobody wants to invest in it, or they'd rather have, say, for instance, a Toyota or a Mercedes when you got a black man making a car.
Yeah.
And if we don't buy the car and purchase the car, he's not going to be able to grow his business. And if he can't grow the business, he can't hire people. So it's
Mm.
all connected. Us being able to control our economy feeds the people within our community.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's important. If we can't do that, then what's going to happen to us as a people?
Yeah. I hope that Stuart is listening to these solutions because he was saying, "Oh, where are the solutions?" Stuart, these are the solutions. It's us supporting each other and getting together. Charlie, I want to read some comments before we go any further.
Okay,
There's a
go
comment
ahead.
that is standing out to me. It's from a guy from My Holy King. He's saying, "Why be pro-black if all your people don't love or care about you?"
I should love myself. And if I love myself, I love people who look like me.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? And
I
then
say it.
you, pardon?
No, I'm saying I say it.
Yeah. And if you're living in a world where there are people who don't like you, who don't look like you, but they like themselves, and they like themselves enough to oppress you so that they can continue to stay on top, you have no other choice but to love yourself and love your brothers and sisters, no matter where they come from. I'm a Pan Africanist. I love Black people globally. I don't care if you come from Colombia or Cuba or Uganda or Kenya or Nigeria or Ghana or the United States. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand with you in your plight for justice, in your plight for economic freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I feel like when I read the comments, we're going to keep going off track. So let's do the live till the end, and then I'll just read the comments where need
Okay.
be. But yeah. So you've mentioned some of the solutions. You talked about supporting each other, and you've talked about supporting each other, and what else did you say? I think you said supporting each other.
Loving yourself, you
Unity.
loving your, yeah,
Yeah.
unity, loving, because once you create a business, once you create, perfect example. I think somebody in a comment mentioned, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and I'm not going to. It's a Nigerian brother who created a refinery
Or
in
Dangote.
Nigeria. He created a refinery where they can literally refine the oil in Nigeria. They don't have to ship it out, and they want the Nigerian government will not sell him the oil to do it. They won't allow him to do it. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that this is Tinubu's doing solely. I know that's coming from the International Monetary Fund.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to see Africa self sufficient. Because if Africa were united and self sufficient, Europe would be a third world country. You think
Mm-hmm.
about the Francophone African countries, France lives off them. They cannot survive without them. The same way, as much as, Black America, we're small, we're 15% of the population, but we have an economy the size of Canada or bigger than Canada.
Mm.
But we don't control that economy. Our money keeps going out of our community into white banks, white hands. And therefore we have the one of the highest unemployment rates. And when you have high unemployment, you have high poverty, you're going to have high crime. It doesn't matter what color you are. But because we don't control our economy, we cannot provide enough jobs for our people. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing is happening in the African continent. We cannot provide enough jobs for our people, but we have the materials to create economies that can do it. But we have interference from Europe in terms of Africa. We have
Yeah.
interference from the United States, white folk in the United States who, believe it or not, and I know some people think it's, but if there are businesses that are strong enough to compete with white businesses, the white business will either do one or two things. They will try to buy them out or they will try to sabotage them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, if you say that. I there was a company in the US I think that got my attention. The honeypot, if there are women on the platform, they should clever girl reading. She's saying no African immigrants come to our country and tell us you'll hate us. Plus there's internet. So she has not you've not moved to Africa and then you're believing what someone else is telling you about Africa. I can't help you there. I'll get to her later. She was called Honeypot. I think they do like feminine products. I think like feminine wash and then
I don't know
sanitary
anything
towels.
about. I don't know anything about that.
Oh no! So what I'm trying to get at is that she sold her company to like a white owned company, and there was like an outrage. And then it wasn't actually her, but there's that. And then there's another lady who does like hair oil, the rosemary hair oil that was getting popular on TikTok. She also sold her company to like a white owned person. I think it's Mieli something, but she was defending herself saying like this is business. The idea was that like she starts a company and sells it off to make profit. Like that's how business is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Apparently, black people were holding, um, like black people tend to like have an emotional attachment to certain things like that they should see it as a business.
Okay. Okay. Now we have what we call mom and pop businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And with the mom and pop business, it's a family owned business. And you create that business so that you can pass it down. But here's the thing, white folk do that all the time. They pass their businesses
Mm-hmm.
down to their children all the time.
Indians
What's
too.
wrong with us doing what's wrong with us doing it? There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
They so but what again, her selling her business is her business. I understand. But if you're thinking about the collective and not the individual, if I if you're thinking about me personally, what's good for me, and somebody comes and offers me $1 billion, I might
Mm-hmm.
say that might work. But if I'm thinking about the collective, okay, I've got these employees who are depending on me. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
community that's supporting me because I am black. Maybe I can hold on. If they Master P told me something I'll never forget. He told me this personally. He said when he first started his business, a major record company offered him $1 million. He needed the million. He said he needed it badly, but he thought and said, if this guy offers me $1 million for my record company, I got to be worth way more than $1 million. And he turned it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to create No Limit Records, and he was worth $48 billion by the time I saw him. But what if he would have taken that million? Now,
Mm-hmm.
eventually, he wound up selling his company. Eventually, he did. Now, why? I don't know because I haven't talked to him about why he did it. But I mean, you look at there are some people. I think Russell Simmons talks about it in his book Life or Death, DEF, and he talks about one of the things that he does is he starts businesses to sell them with the intention of selling.
Yeah.
but he's not selling them to another black person. He's selling them to
A white
the large
person.
white companies. Exactly.
Yeah, Bob in the comments is saying there's a what's the comment? One of the largest black or Afro dating website is owned by a white Australian. Can you imagine?
I can't, but I can believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah.
Another perfect example. You talked about hair products in the United States. You know, to get your weaves and most of your hair products, when you walk into these stores, there's a place I think it's called Happy. Um, they're owned by Koreans. The Asians
Yeah.
control the artificial hair and the wig market. They control it with an iron fist.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the case in Africa, but here they
No, it's like
control.
everywhere. And the thing, I think I also saw another thing where it's like the beauty stores in the US. Like when you see clips, you see like white people, well not white, but like Asians or like
Yeah,
so
they
I
control it.
thought it being like a beauty store and having like so many products for black people, you would have black people in such spaces. It was a shock to me. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, but again,
Mm-hmm.
that is because they got help. Now, when
Mm.
I can understand how some people feel, because I remember I was on Kinganda and I talked about. Um,
Yeah.
I can understand how they feel, but you have to understand also, there's nothing stopping us from doing this. We're not doing it. So if there's a space that's a void, somebody's going to step in it. But black people have to say to ourselves, I'm not buying from that store. I'm not buying my hair. Black women have to say, I'm not buying my hair from that store. I've got to find a black person who sells hair and support them,
Hmm.
because that's a contradiction. This is something the Koreans are making millions, millions.
Hmm. I
And
have.
you know what else they're doing? Since the natural hair movement is growing in America, they're getting in on the natural hair stuff.
Yes, I just wanted to tell you there's a Chinese company here that makes like Afro wig, like is it like a wig or a weave, like to look kind of like the black hair. I was like, okay, sir, come
Yeah,
for all the
but
money.
we shouldn't allow that. They would look. Do you think for 1 second what's authentically Chinese? I'm trying to think. Um, if we were selling Chinese garments, do you
Mm-hmm.
think they would allow us to corner that market? Do you think the Chinese would allow you to corner a market on Chinese garments?
So never.
They never. For the longest of time, they controlled. There was a thing back in the early days. They had what's called the Silk Road. They controlled the silk before it was discovered that it was a worm that made it. They controlled that with a iron fist. They would not let you know where this silk was coming from, because that was the lifeblood, part of the lifeblood of their economic survival. And we have to start thinking like this.
Hmm. Um. Before going further, Dan had said another big problem in America is that black folks identify as American and everybody else identify as the culture and race first.
I agree with Geechee Dan. I agree with you, brother. I agree.
Could you explain that for me? Because from the from my part of the world, it's not a thing that we experience. So I would love to understand it better.
Well, all right. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to slavery. Okay, because here's the thing: a person who knows who they are makes for a bad slave. So, in order for me to enslave a people, I've got to strip them of their identity. I have to strip them
Mm,
of their culture. I have to strip them of their God, and I have to replace that with my identity or my ideal of what I want them to become. So I take away their African God and I give them white Jesus. I take away, I know this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but this is the truth. I'm telling you the truth. All right. I have to take away them being Yoruba, them being Fulani, them being Ashanti, them being Ibu, them being Chikuyu, whatever tribe they came from. I have to break that from them. And I have to give them an American identity. I give them first the N-word identity, and then I evolve that to the Negro, then to colored.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started becoming somewhat aware of ourselves and said, well, we're going to be Black. And then
Yeah.
some of us advanced to the point where we want to be African or African American. And what was the reaction to being African? Oh, no, I'm not African, bro. I'm American. Oh, no, I ain't African American. I'm Native American. I'm Indian.
Yeah, I see they call themselves uh is it foundation or black, is it black men or something like that? And
FBA, Foundational Black American. My
yeah.
understanding of that has to do with the diaspora wars. Because
Ooh.
yeah, you have an influx of Africans from the continent coming in, and that's creating tension between African Americans. And it's on both
Mm.
sides. It's not on the African side solely, it's on the African American side. And what some of these Black people are doing, instead of trying to find common ground with their African brothers, trying to find kinship with their African brothers, they've just said, screw it, I'm foundational Black American. And it grows also out of the reparation movement, because some people are saying, well, I don't want, if you're not a slave, you shouldn't get reparations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Let me read one more comment. Let's address Clever Girl. She
Clever
started
girl.
from the beginning. She's like, African immigrants come to our country and tell us they hate us. She also says there's internet, so she knows Africans hate her for sure. And just goes ahead to say Africa incited Black Americans to come to Africa. Once they got there, the people were grifted and they lost their savings and had to abandon the homes they built. So you want to screenshot that. So
Okay.
what do you?
Some of what she says is anecdotal, meaning that's something that she personally experienced or
No,
something
she has
she
not been to
heard.
Africa before, so she has heard
Okay.
it and seen it
Yeah,
online.
yeah, exactly. Because
She hasn't
for
experienced it.
instance, I went to Jackson State University. We had a large contingent of brothers and sisters from Nigeria. I got along with all of them. I
Mm-hmm.
actually dated a Nigerian girl
Wow.
in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have I didn't have that experience.
Yes.
Okay. I never had that experience with running into brothers and sisters from the continent. I've never had that experience.
Yeah.
And as far as the internet is concerned, you can go on the internet and find negative experiences and find people on the internet who had nothing but positive experiences about Africa.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you can have a negative experience being an American, born in America, living in America from white Americans. I can tell you, I've had plenty of negative experiences from white Americans.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. Sorry. Okay. Well, clever girl. I hope that answers you. Melanated with power. I don't know if you can see the comments, Shirley, here. The problem is 69% of the brands in Africa are Europe or Europe Americans. Indigenous Africans only have 30% of brand market in Africa. Africans desire Western products over theirs. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also something that we need to talk about, because when you look at the car company in Kenya, I think most people wouldn't trust a Kenyan You did you know that Uganda also makes cars? There's a bus
You know
called,
what? I saw something. I think I saw it on,
yeah,
was it on? Yeah, I saw something about that.
yeah.
How is
There's
that
a
come?
there are cars. They
How's that
make
coming?
cars. No one is buying the cars. It's more of like a government thing that they started and it hasn't taken off because no one is buying the cars. You know, they prefer the other brands over
Well, let me
that.
ask, okay. Now, here's President Museveni. This is something I should suggest you do. If the government is buying it, you should promote the cars for the company. And I think if the president says, this is a good car, I like this car, you should buy this car, you may see more people doing it.
Mm. Yeah, I think it would work more if they like price them lower than like the other brands because like each car in Uganda is taxed. So imagine if the cars made in Uganda were not taxed. I think most people would
That
buy
would
them.
that would that would help. That
So
would help.
that's
Yeah, that and you know what? I know that's what America does to foreign cars. They tax foreign cars
mm-hmm.
so that the foreign car market can never take over their own market. They'll tax them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Geechee Dan, I see you, brother. You're right. Absolutely right. That they pit non-white groups against each other and they sit back and laugh. They do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if they say that. Okay, and okay, I'm pinning this one up for you. Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, it says branding is controlled by whomever has money and resources, the same way the US created a propaganda of a perfect society through Hollywood. That's a good point. Branding is very important because I mean, here in this country, my mother, when I was a young boy, my mother made great hamburgers, but when McDonald's came and I saw the commercials on it, I wanted a McDonald's burger.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what I'm saying? So at that point, my mind had been trained through the propaganda that the McDonald's burger was better. Now that I'm older, I realize the McDonald's burger was actually poison.
Yeah. I okay. Something came to my mind. Sorry, I don't may not be related. There are cosmetic companies owned by black people, right? I'm sure they are. What's the lady, the Topicos lady, the Nigerian? Hello, is it me? Is it my internet? Sorry, let me just take him off the screen. Guys, can you hear me? Okay, I think I can be heard. Charlie, I think his network decided to do him badly, but I'll just have him come on and then. Oh, he's frozen. Yes. Charlie, hold on. Guys, oh, he's gone. Okay, so guys, I'm just going to read some of your comments and then we call it a night. Um, Someone is saying African Americans, we don't own a car, truck, but that's the funny thing though. Help me understand this in the chat. Like, I'm sure there's so many African Americans who invented these things. So if they invented these things, why don't they own these things? Educate me. I'm here to learn. Because it's one plus one. It's not making sense. Someone is saying in Africa, black people own car, truck, even electronic brands. Okay, please drop some brands. I would love to know about them. Maybe. Someone Gichi Dan is saying, oh, he's back. Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry about that. That was my internet that time.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
bad.
I thought it was me all the way here in Uganda with my Simba
No, no, no,
fiber
no. No,
struggling.
no. It was my internet that
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. Sorry about that. I apologize.
It's okay. So we're wrapping this up anyway. So you can give us like your last remarks and then we finish.
My last remarks again, I
Mm-hmm.
say this all of the time. Black people worldwide are going to have to get together and work together and figure out ways to help each other create industry that we control, that we can distribute amongst each other. If we can do that, we will weather whatever storm economically or politically comes our way. It's not going to be easy because believe me, Europe, white folk, period, aren't going to sit back and let it happen because, like I said, if Africa is united, if we're all working together, Europe becomes a third world country. America is no longer the power structure that it is. And they will fight us tooth and nail, but it can happen. It must happen. We don't have a choice.
Mm. Um, Charlie, thank you so much. Would
You're
you
welcome.
say when you look, okay, I understand the Javon said something that was really important. He said there was a time black people used to invent things and then white people, sorry, someone talks about generational wealth, is that black, like, part of the problem is because they sell it for quick cash instead of generational wealth. And what if someone says, okay, what's wrong with that? What do you say to that person when someone tells you, okay, what's wrong with that? That I get money for me and my family and we're able to like live a few more years. What do you say to someone like that?
Here's what I say to them. All right. If you have money and your brother doesn't or your neighbor doesn't, then you run the risk of your brother taking your money, hurting you. You don't want that. It's like George Clinton once said, if I have a freezer full of steaks and my neighbors don't, then I'm inducing my neighbor to come rob me. You know, you want to, in an ideal world, you want to work for the collective, not the individual. You
Mm.
understand?
Yeah.
It's important that you're, those of you who are Christians, you want to believe, you want to practice as Jesus did. Jesus didn't say, well, I'm bringing this salvation for me. He didn't say that. When people were hungry and they gave him the fish and bread, he distributed the fish and bread among everybody. So you being rich as an individual and your people are poor, guess what? You're still poor, no matter how rich you are. In a global scheme, if your people are starving, the world looks at you as just, oh, that's a rich Negro. But they won't respect you because your people aren't powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If that
I,
makes sense to you.
it did. It did make sense to me. It did make sense to me. They won't respect you because your people are not powerful. That in itself is a very powerful statement because that's true. You can't just think of yourself and then think the people around you, will struggle and then they'll respect you. It's like the head of a family, looking out for himself and forgetting about his family. Okay, Charlie, the people who love or what you've talked about today, are you still on or you're frozen?
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here. I'm here. I'm just
okay.
I'm reading the comments
Oh,
too.
you're
Go
reading
ahead.
the comments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Go
coming
ahead.
up, and it's good. I don't know if we should continue or should end it. Let me just read the comments that are coming in. Melanated said African leaders are given, I guess, cover by African parents pushing their children to leave Africa and go to the West, sending millions of dollars back to Africa, where leaders get a pass on fixing high. Okay, there's that. Uh, okay,
I
let's
think
wrap
he's talking
that.
about the corruption that takes
Yeah.
place among. Uh, okay, listen. For those who I'm not going to address the African League. I'm going to say this: corruption is a major problem in Africa. It's part of the thing that is holding Africa back.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a leader, the great PLO Lumumba, whom I love, He calls it hygiene in politics. You have to. Haki Armadabudi, who is an American poet and writer, says that everything that you do as a Black person must be guided by one question: is it what's best for Black people? Not is it what's best for me, but is it what's best for Black people? I think that that should be paramount for anybody who enters into public service. Okay? If you entering into public service, it's almost like you're a public servant for the people, not for yourself. You can't look at I'm taking this office to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking this office to make sure that my country runs well for everybody. And if I'm taking money or if I'm grifting money, public money, mind you, this is the people's money. It's not your money. It's the people's money. It's coming from the taxpayers. You need to make sure every penny is accounted for and every penny goes to where it's supposed to go to service the people and not buy you a new Mercedes or take flights to Europe so you can take shopping sprees or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where's the feedback coming from? I think you've said it better than I could have said it. So okay, Charlie, that people wanted to like follow you and like read your articles. I was letting them know how you have amazing articles in the comment section. So can you please tell the people where they can find you if they want to hear all
You
this?
can you can find me on medium.com. I'm there. I have articles there. I put out an article every week, if not sometimes like I got to do an article this week. Um, you can also find me on loveblackgirls.com. You can find me on Twitter and
Mm-hmm.
Facebook under Charlie Braxton.
Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to find sorry, let me find one of your articles so that I can pin this. Okay, I found
Okay.
it already. So let me find your profile. Okay. And then
Okay.
I'm sharing it right now so that if they're interested and they would like to, I feel like you're my source of news too. I literally, okay, so I've shared it here in the comment section. Okay,
Okay.
that's guys, you can find him on
Yeah,
Medium.
you can find me there. You can find me there. You can find my work
Yeah,
there. And you can
yeah,
comment. I will respond and whatever. But first of all, Joan, thank you
yeah.
for what you're doing.
Thank
Thank you for having me
you.
on for a second time.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, I appreciate what you all are doing over there at Kinganda. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I follow you all religiously. And hopefully one day I will be in Uganda and I'll see you in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to respond to the comments in real time.
No
But yeah,
problem.
definitely I know for sure you get to come to Uganda one time and then we'll be able to give you the warmest of all welcomes. Okay, thank you so much. I'm just going to take you off, but I'll message you, right?
Okay,
Okay.
no problem.
All right. What's the thumbs up doing? Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Melanated, you need to come on next time. You know, when I do the live streams, I drop the StreamYard link. So you can just tap the link and then come on and give us your wisdom. So next Monday, please do not hesitate. No, African Dawat. I hope I'm not butchering. No, guys, thank you so much for staying with me till the end. The numbers are quite good this time round for me, anyway, since I'm growing. So I don't take that for granted. Thank you so much for all your support and for being with me to the end. I know guys are logging off right now. Don't forget that I am a relocation consultant. I can help you relocate, move to Uganda, or visit and tour Uganda. So you can book a consultation with me. Just send me an email, but I'm also going to put up my booking link. You can find it anywhere in my description box. I also have a digital product. It's an ebook. So if you don't want to do the consultation, you can do the ebook first, buy the ebook, and get all this knowledge about sorry, Bob's comment, do research on each country in Africa and Black diaspora. Yes, I said I was a student of life. I came, the reason why I do this is so that I can learn. So this to me is exciting. After every time, English, after every show, I go and read more and do more research because I listen the things I know. There's so many. Anyway, yeah, I have an ebook. So please, guys, the ebook is just $15. Buy the ebook if you're thinking of testing the waters in Uganda, in terms of touring, in terms of buying land, in terms of visiting places to work, accommodation. There's so much I keep forgetting because like the ebook just has everything. Safaris, shopping places, where to eat, where to go for the nightlife, active links, everything is in there. So just hit me up and then I'll be sure to show you guys what we have in Uganda, what I have to offer you guys. Also, guys, there's March. We have March. I did this, I think at the beginning of this year, even before I came back on YouTube. I was doing this for my consultancy because I needed shirts of my own. Guys, don't run away. Bob, don't run away. Eddie, don't run away. Thank you for staying by. Okay, so we have shirts. They're amazing. Support your girl. You can send me an email. If you're in Uganda, I can send you the shirt physically. If you're not in Uganda, you can just buy through the shop and then we'll see from there. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. This was very exciting. No super chat on this one, but it's okay. We learned so much, and that's even more. That's even amazing than everything. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end the live now. Let me comment here something. Let me just say bye. Thank you so much. Okay, I think it's commenting bye for your shirt. Yes. The shirts also have sweatshirts, and they have sweatshirts and hoodies actually on the shop right there. So there are shirts, sweatshirts. That's like a tiny bag. What's like a bag called? There's like a cute tiny bag, like a backpack tiny thing that has Uganda looks good on me and Uganda is calling, so I must go. So we have that, and yeah, I didn't want to do so much of the March because I know that, yeah, let's first test the waters with this collection. If it does well, well and good. If it doesn't, onto something else. See, that's life. But yeah, and I can't wear the sweatshirt because I have bright lights behind me and it gets hot. But maybe next time I'll just go through it. But yeah, peace, guys. Bye.